it's Gabby, and I am no longer Forever Fandoms. I have changed my account name to Gabby YA Books because I'm going to be doing specifically booktubing now. I'm not really going to be focused so much on other fandoms. You may see a video here and there about like a different fandom, but now I'm going to be focusing on just books. And I'm really excited to do that because that's what my account is about, and that's kind of what I made this YouTube channel for, is to talk about books. And I wanted to talk about other fandoms too, because there was a lot of different fandoms that I was in. But now a lot of that is kind of like subsided, and I feel like my biggest concern and my biggest interest and my biggest love is reading and books. And so I want to be able to talk about that on this channel, so I've changed my account name to reflect that, and I'm definitely very excited to start with that and be able to then make my channel based on that account name. So I'm definitely very excited for the new route that I'm taking with my channel, and I hope that you guys are too. And so in honor of all things book related that I am going to be doing on my account, I'm going to be doing another book review today, and I'm going to be reviewing Illuminae by Amie Kaufman and Kristoff. So let's get started. So this book was given out as an ARC last year at BEA. So pretty much everyone that wanted a copy got one because they had like 5,000 copies. And so when I was watching everyone's book calls for BookCon 2015 or BEA, everybody had this book, and they were just talking about how pretty it was and how this book was given out as a hardcover ARC and pretty much looked exactly like what I have in my hands, except it was an ARC. And that's absolutely insane for ARCs because typically they're paperback and the cover really isn't pretty, there really isn't a lot to it, and the writing itself, like, there really isn't anything special about it because there's been lots of edits and stuff that have gotten down since the ARC has been printed, so you're really not getting the full entirety of the book that you're going to see when it's published. But this was pretty much what it looked like as an ARC. And so people were freaking out about that and how pretty it was and everything. And I kept seeing that in video after video after video. And so I was like, you want to know what? I got to pick up this book. And so I went to Barnes & Noble and I picked up the book. And I'm so glad I did because it's absolutely gorgeous. And I knew that when I was watching everyone's videos. But like actually holding it in my hand was absolutely fantastic because it like felt, oh my gosh, so amazing because it's so pretty. Like, look at this. Like, all of the red and, like, the inferno of it all and, like, everything. And then, like, how all the text has to fit in with where it actually is on the book. And then, like, all the writing that's on it when you take off the cover and everything. It's just, oh my gosh, it's so fantastic. And then, like, there's the author's names in here and the tagline. It's all so pretty and so intricate and so gorgeous and absolutely fantastic. So definitely this is reason number one why you should get the book, because the cover is gorgeous. And so one thing I would recommend is that if you are going to buy this book and by the end of this video you're like, I need this book, it sounds interesting, it looks pretty, I need it, I need it, I need it. If you are like that, then get a hardcover copy because it's going to be worth spending the extra few dollars because you're going to get a prettier book that way. I haven't even seen a paperback copy of this book, but I don't think it would be as cool as the hardcover copy is. And so I think it's worth it just to pay the extra money for the hardcover copy because it's prettier. And you need a pretty book on your shelf. And I usually never felt that way about books. I never buy them for the covers because I want to actually know what the story's about before getting it, just because I think the cover's pretty. And so this is the first time I did it with this book, and it actually worked out really well because everything about this book is fantastic. So yeah, reason number one why you should get this book, the cover. Not only is the cover of this book gorgeous, all the stuff inside is. So this book is told through so many different types of documents. So things like diary entries, IM messages, emails, maps, images, etc., etc., etc. The list could go on. There are so many different types of documents that put this story together that make it so interesting to read. And so if I were to page through this book, you're not really going to be able to see everything when I'm paging through it, but when you pick up the actual book, you know, like, the amount of, like, effort that gets put into it because of how pretty it is. And also a fun thing about this book and the way it's put together is that all the swears are blacked out, and so every time you see a swear in the book, it's blacked out, but you're, like, able to tell, like, what the actual swear is, which is absolutely fantastic, and I think is super funny and just totally adds to the book and its presentation. And here's the thing, is you have all these different types of documents that put this story together. And there's a problem with that, and it's that the reader could become very easily lost in the story that you're trying to tell when you have all these different types of documents and media, because they have to be able to read all of it and put it all together, and it could just be a mess, and it just couldn't work. But it totally works for this book in the way that they put it together, and they add so much humor into it, and it just makes it so enjoyable to read, and it goes by so quickly, because it's 599 pages, but by the time you get into the story and how it gets so suspenseful, you're totally hooked, and it seems like it goes like that. And that's one of the things that's so fantastic about it. And I love it. I love the fact that it's so different than any other book, and it can be just as fantastic. And I feel like I can't compare this to any other book because it's just on its own level. And that's what's so fantastic about this book, is that it can be like something just as interesting and just as fantastic, but be so totally different. It's absolutely insane. And another thing too is that because of the way this book is presented, it makes it more accessible to everybody. Because I feel like if I'd heard just about this book and like what it was about, since it's very futuristic and very sci-fi-esque, I feel like that would have been something that I would have been into, and so I would have asked this book up. But since it's put together the way it is, and it's not in a third-person narrative, just like a regular story, I think it makes it a lot more enjoyable for people to read because they can get into how all of the documents are put together. And that's what can make the story so much more interesting. Because I probably wouldn't have read this book if it was just a regular story like any other. So the way this story puts together is definitely very unique and definitely very fantastic and definitely worth a read. So reason number 2 why you should check this book out. So getting into the plot of this book, Illuminae follows 2 central characters, Katie Grant and Ezra Mason, and they are dating they're living a regular life on their planet, and they're together and they're a couple and life is good for them. And then the day that they break up, their planet gets attacked by Bitech, and so in this whole attack they end up getting separated and put onto 2 different rescue spaceships. And so throughout the entire book you're sort of following their communications and them trying to figure out what went down in this attack and kind of what broke them up and split them apart, and sort of what's going on these ships that we really don't know all about, and really is everything that's going down totally justified and making sense, or is there things that are being hidden? And so it's interesting to see that all play out and see Katie and Ezra's relationship start to grow back to what it once was and figure out why they broke up. And so there's a lot of romance, there's a lot of futuristic stuff because it takes place in like 2575, and there's lots of really cool spaceships. There's 3 big spaceships in the book: the Hypatia, the Lincoln, which is the evil ship, the ship that you're just like, oh god, that's going to come and attack everybody and kill everybody, and then the Alexander. And so you see those ships mentioned a lot throughout the book and kind of how they play into the story. And then there's like different diseases and stuff, so it's definitely very science fiction-esque, but the way that the story is told, it makes it compatible for everybody. So it's definitely worth reading. And if you've read it, you definitely know that there are a lot of points in this book, especially towards the end, where you're just like, how could that have possibly happened? It doesn't make sense. And it feels like so heartbreaking, and then it just keeps happening again and again and again, over and over again. More stuff keeps hitting you. And so it's such a suspenseful read and such an enjoyable read, and I cannot wait for book 2, Gemina, and I really hope that there is an arc for the second book at BookCon, because I need to pick it up if there is, because I am in love with this book series and I'm so glad that I picked it up. So thank you to everybody for showing me this book and getting me to read it, because I'm very glad that I did. So definitely go and check this book out, and I think you'll definitely very much enjoy it. That is all for this review of Illuminae by Amie Kaufman and Kristoff. Make sure to go and check it out because, like I said, time and time again, you are going to definitely enjoy it in all of its beauty. So go and check it out. And I guess that's it for this video. So I'll see you on the other side. Bye!